Hi, I'm Nick Best. I'm CEO here at Astranti. Over the last 18 months, I've been learning to play the violin, which to pick up a musical instrument and start learning a musical instrument at my age, brave thing to do. And I've also been taking the grades. In fact, I've got my grade 3 coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. But I started off for the first month or so just online, playing myself, starting to learn the music. And I started to realise that I was never going to get good unless I had some tuition. And I found a local violin teacher, went along to her, and I've been working with her now for the last year as I've worked through my grades. And I'll tell you what happens. I'm at home, I've got the music, I can hear the piece because I've got the recording, and I'm playing my violin, and I'm producing what I think is I'm supposed to be producing. And I have a go and I do my best, and then I go along to my violin tutor and I think I'm doing all right, and then she goes, well, in fact, it can be quite demoralising because, well, the sound in this part of the piece, the sound is not working very well. And you see this section here, you're missing this note out, and you're doing this wrongly. You see that, you're not doing that. And you see, and she gets her violin out, and she's a concert pianist, and she plays with orchestras, and she's the lead violinist with an orchestra, she has been. And she goes, it sounds absolutely beautiful. I'm thinking, no way am I ever going to do that. No way. But do you know what she'll do is she'll go, okay, play this really, really slowly, just like this. And she'll play it, and she'll go, just play that bit like that. And I'll play it, and I'll go home and I'll practice the bits that she's told me I've got wrong. The next time round, rather than it's okay, but you still need to improve here, here, and here, and that note's there's still wrong, and this one's here. 2 weeks later, I go back. And I was quite reassured. My exam's 2 weeks away. I was quite reassured last time I went. She said, yeah, it was not bad now. It's not bad. It was almost like reluctant that I was doing all right at this point. But of course, it's been 6 months. 6 months since I took my last exam, and you're going through this process of learning and learning. But here's the point. What does this mean? What's my point? What am I telling you about me and my violin exams? The key here is, without her feedback and her telling me where I'm going wrong, I would be absolutely nowhere. I mean, I would be making a terrible sound. I'm sure you've heard violins when they sound bad. And it still sounds pretty bad when I play it now, but anyway, I'm getting better. But I would be absolutely nowhere. And it's going along to her, getting her to correct me, getting her to teach me. Actually, it's quite easy to teach myself what the notes are, and I can watch videos online. But what I can't do is see the things that I'm doing wrongly. And, I would have not, I've got a distinction in my first exam, merit, which is just below a distinction, which is way above a pass in my first 2. I don't know where I'd go out, what I do this time, but it's all down to her and her feedback. And isn't that the way we learn anything? We try something, we see what we got right, what we got wrong, and then we correct that, and then we move forward. And so what does that mean for you and case study exams? And something that I see just a huge number of people do, which is they think that just knowing the case study, just going back through the theory and turning up on exam day is enough for them to pass. Lots and lots of people do that. But actually, do you know what you must do? You must practice your mock exams. A bit like me playing my piece. You must have a go at mock exams, past papers, and to time. I just can't stress how important. You mustn't just sit there and do a question in a couple of hours and another question in a couple of hours. You should sit down and do that past paper in 3 hours. You should sit down and do that mock on your case study, which is even more beneficial because it's about the kind of analysis. You're not just doing something theoretical. You are advising based on your company, your case study. That's ultimately what you must be doing in the exam. So that's what you should practice above all else. So get as many mocks as you can from all the different providers. I'd really advise that, to practice that. But ultimately, either you then need to go back through your mock and be really, really critical of it so you learn, which is of course what I try and do. I try and do that my best with my violin. Or probably more importantly, you get someone that is like my violin teacher, someone that's marked, has passed the exams themselves, that's marked hundreds of these things. They've seen all these different scripts that can go to you, okay, this is really good. Oh, that's great. But this, no. And that, no. So just as with my violin, they're pointing out to you where the problems are. And you can go, okay, you can go and do a little quick practice question and get your technique right before then going on to your mocks and incorporating that into your next mock. Then you get more feedback. Then you incorporate that into your next mock. Then you get more feedback. Then you incorporate that into the real exam. Of all the products that we have available, the thing that I would say is most important is the mocks and the marking. Because it's the mocks that as the practice and it's the marking that gives you the feedback. And the feedback that we give, we have a checklist of 7 or 8 pages where people will go through saying, this is what you're supposed to do to pass. Are you doing it or not? You may be doing it quite well, but not really. And they'll go through giving you direct feedback based on that checklist. But also they go through your script, paragraph by paragraph, either giving you a mark or commenting on whether that paragraph was good or not. And most of the lessons here are not about, do you know a particular model? Do you know Ansough's matrix? Or do you know dividend policy models? Because that's not likely to be what's coming up in your exam. It's about the way that you approach it, the way you're answering your questions. So that whatever is in your exam, you've got the approach right, the star right, the planning right. The way you're describing things is describing them in a way that scores marks. And that is where that general marking helps you to pass. And so if as you go up to your exam, if there's one thing you do of all the things that you buy from us, it would be the mocks and the marking. And of course you can do the mocks in your own time and you can learn yourself, and it's a lot cheaper that way. So if you do nothing else, do that or do past exam papers. But if you can afford the marking, I'd really, really advise getting that and investing that, because it makes an enormous difference to whether you pass or whether you fail.